Okay, so I've had some questions about how to configure Unforgiving Void, so let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to go here, go to the options. First things first, I'm going over the config GUI here on the client. After that, I can talk about how that relates to the server. So first of all, we have our default void settings. This will take place in all the dimensions. And then, so here I can say enabled yes or no. No for this one means that all dimensions by default will be turned off, and then you can manually add a dimension to enable. So for instance, down here, well, I'll get to that in a minute. First, let me go through the options. So we have trigger distance, distance below the world where you will be sent to the target dimension. Should it drop obsidian when you're transported, fire resistance, seconds, and slow falling. These are both the potion effects that you'll get, for how long. And then you can set these to 0 if you do not want them. Then we have horizontal distance offset, which is basically how far away you could end up whenever you get teleported horizontally. Vertically, you'll end up wherever the spawn mode says you should end up. So let's see, target dimension, this is where you will end up. In this case, I have it set to the Nether. We can go through here though and start backspacing, and as you'll see, we have these other options here. So I can set this to the end, overworld, the Nether. If I had mods with other dimensions installed and I did this from in a world, I would be able to see more of those dimensions. And then spawn mode, we have a few different choices here. We have similar, spawn point, surface, and fall from the sky. Similar means that your X and Z coordinates will be similar to the ones in the world that you're falling from. If you're going from the Nether to the overworld and the other way around, it'll be similar to where a Nether portal could end up. The Y value will just look for a safe location, obviously not in the void. And then for spawn point, it will put you at the world spawn point, wherever that may be set, or near it. If that spawn point is not safe for whatever reason, it will find a spot. Surface, it'll be at a similar X and Z coordinate still, but it will put you on the surface of the target world instead of wherever it finds a safe spot. It will specifically look for a spot on the surface. And then fall from the sky, that's pretty self-explanatory. You'll be at a similar X and Z position as where you fell into the void, but you'll be falling from the sky, from the target dimension. So this can be used. You can also set target dimension the same as whatever dimension you're falling in, not necessarily from default void, because that could be from different dimensions. But if you were in a specific dimension config like overworld, you could set yourself to fall from the overworld sky or end up on the overworld surface, and it would allow it. So next up, how to add a custom dimension. So we have this add custom dimension settings here. I can go here and choose one from the list. I'm going to choose the Nether to start off with. Let's say we want some custom settings there, and I'm going to save and quit, go back into it, and now you'll see we have this additional, the Nether Void here. And so I'm going to enable it in the Nether, and I'm going to say, after we fall into the void in the Nether, no, we don't want to give them obsidian, no, we don't want to give them fire resistance. Slow falling, let's give them 20 seconds of slow falling. Horizontal distance, I want them to end up far away, let's say 2048 blocks. And target dimension, let's go with I'm going to go with the overworld. So fall into the void and another, end up back in the overworld. Slow falling from the sky. Okay, fun stuff. Alright, one last thing. If I go here and I delete this Dimensions Void settings, yes, whenever I save it, the overworld settings will be gone. So if I hit save, go back to this, our Nether settings have saved and our overworld settings are gone. They will be back to this default, whatever it is set to. So I'm going to turn this default back on and let me reset this. I don't want it dropping obsidian. Fire resistance can stay, that can stay. Reset target dimension to the Nether. The Minecraft colon part, I guess, should. It won't hurt to leave it or remove it, I don't think. So I'm going to reset it and just make sure this default still works. It should, but it won't hurt, as I said. And I'm going to reset this. So I'm going to leave this as defaults again, and then the Nether will be overridden and bring us back to the sky of the overworld. So save and quit. Real quick, before I demonstrate this though, let me go and show you what the config files for this look like now. So on the left here, I have Unforgiving Void default dimension config within my config directory. So this default dimension config just has is enabled, the trigger distance, drop obsidian, all of the same options you saw in the GUI. We have our target dimension and our transfer position mode. This will be the same as whatever was in that drop down, all caps. And then here, in this, underneath our config folder, we now have this Unforgiving Void custom dimension configs, and we have the domain of the dimension, which was Minecraft. It's the part before the colon, so you saw in the GUI it was Minecraft colon the Nether. So here, the Minecraft folder and the Nether. And this one, the config looks very similar to the default, except this one controls the Nether. And so through this method, you could add one for the end. If you have mods that add custom dimensions, you'll probably create a folder for that mod and then files within that folder for that mod's dimensions. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this in action. So we've got Unforgiving Void. Let me enter the world. Okay, so here I am. I'm starting off in the overworld. Let me kill just to clear my effects. Okay, no more potion effects. Let me see here. I think I have a hole down to the Nether. No, not quite. Can't see anything now, of course. Okay, perfect. So here I am in the void. I'm about to drop down to 32 blocks below, and that should teleport me. And here I am. It's brought me to the Nether. Let me see my survival inventory. I see my particles going all over the place. Not sure why I'm not seeing the potion effects here on the client, but you can see the particles are there, so they have applied. Alright, so next up, let me find my way into the void here so we reappear back in the overworld. As the config said, the Nether has the custom config for the void. So let me just click my way down. Hey, there's that fire resistance. Okay. Whoa. Okay, if I was in survival, that would have been useful. it is able to drop you into lava when you do this, so be warned, that's why the fire resistance is there. And then slow falling was mainly intended for fall from sky, but I have heard that fall damage could occur. So just in case it does, you might turn it on for a second or two, even when landing in another dimension on a safe platform, or relatively safe. I mean, could have lava, could have fire, but alright, I'm in the sky. And here we go. Alright, and I have landed. Alright, that's it for the quick demo and the config tutorial. If there's any other questions, my Discord link is there in the mod menu.